So let's talk about the envy eraser trap that many gifted people are objects or targets from other people's envy. And I will be looking at my notes because I want to make sure that I stay on point with this conversation, because it is very, very important, especially for those who are existing, you're creating, you're flowing, you're walking in your grace, and you have become the object of someone's envy. Their goal is to swap with you. This is what many people are calling destiny swapping. I'm going to show you how this plays out. So once you become aware that someone is envious of you, you actually feel the discomfort, right, that they have towards you. Especially if you're highly discerning, you can definitely feel it. So as a result of you experiencing and feeling their discomfort or discerning their discomfort, you begin to shrink yourself. You diminish yourself. You mute yourself. You stop talking about yourself in a way that causes or activates their discomfort, because you ultimately want to feel safe again, right? So you might even leave the dynamic altogether so that you can feel that. But what happens is, what this looks like practically is you stop sharing certain thoughts, you soften your language, you become less expressive, you minimize your accomplishments, you become less joyful, less direct, less visible, less alive. But not because you actually became a lesser person, but because you discerned the discomfort in someone else. And so it made your existence not feel safe. And we talk about nervous system regulation all the time and how we need safety. And when you are around someone who's activated by your presence, of course, you don't want to feel that discomfort. So automatically, you're going to do what's necessary to feel safe again, which would be to minimize yourself. So once this happens, once you lose yourself in the sense of minimizing your existence or your gifts, the other person who is envious becomes happy. Because here's the thing. You've now traded places figuratively. You are no longer the very thing that represented what they were initially envious of. Envy is not satisfied by mutual flourishing. What happens is it's relieved by contrast reduction, which regulates their discomfort. So this is all about them. Now let's go to the Bible, because we need to see this biblically. We see actually this with Hagar and David. I'm using these specific examples on purpose. Hagar's in the Old Testament, where Sarai and Abraham have the child, the not promised child. That's where Ishmael comes from. Then in David's story, we see him, and as he has been promoted to the king's castle, with Saul, excuse me, my brain just went blank. All right. But here's the thing. There is a developmental arc that God brings us to. And these are the stages of that developmental arc. The first one, recognition or gifting emerges, right? You become aware of it. Your surroundings become aware of it. Your gifting is more visible, right? Number two, the envy or opposition now surfaces as a result of this recognition, as a result of this emergence of your gifting. Number three, the person who is the object of the envy retreats, hides, or is forced into a wilderness. Both David and Hagar were forced into the wilderness. Hagar ran when she met the angel. David went on a whole run, okay, for years. All right. Number four, the wilderness becomes a place of identity formation. Remember, God uses what opposes us for our good, right? We see that where Joseph tells his brothers that what the enemy meant for evil, God worked for my good. So this becomes a part of your identity formation. Number five, you, the person who is the object of envy, eventually returns with a greater sense of internal confidence, strength, settledness, groundedness, assurance, right? The key difference is in this. It's whether or not the wilderness becomes a temporary season of formation or a permanent identity. Some people never come out emotionally. They may survive the envy, but they remain psychologically bent around the envy. Their life becomes organized around avoiding activation. So you stay in this state where you're constantly just minimizing yourself, shrinking, dimming your light, because you just don't want other people to feel uncomfortable around you. Okay. So the thing is, you're doing that instead of fully inhabiting the grace that's on your life. Envy is expressed differently amongst women and men. We also see this biblically. If you look at the life of Hagar, you will see this women towards women. And then you see Saul with David, men versus men. So with women, the envy is actually expressed more psychologically. We see that with passive hostility, projection, exclusion, minimization, covert undermining, punishing confidence, chronic comparison. That's how it looks amongst women. Amongst men, it's more physical, or even it could be both psychological and physical. But in the psychological sense, it's more of a power dynamic. But here's the objective. The envy is going to happen. We're in a time where we're seeing a lot of people's gifts. We're seeing people who are authentic, grounded. People can be envious of that. It's not always about what you have tangibly. It's sometimes what you have as a person, your qualities, your character, the way you're calm under pressure. All of these things matter. But the goal is not to change. The goal is to remain you and not be consumed by other people's reactions of you. I hope this helped.